Great.
So question, have you ever delivered a renewal quote that has had a 20% or more premium increase? Ever had a conversation with one of your carriers about an unusually high overall loss ratio for the agency? The reason I ask these questions is the overall insurance industry is running hot. In 2023, depending on the carrier and carrier focus, the combined loss ratios were well over 100%. And many carriers are raising rates and possibly pulling out of unprofitable territories and or classes of business. My name is Dwight Stuckey. I have owned Stuckey & Company, a national wholesale property casualty insurance broker, for over 33 years. Last year, we introduced TRiM. TRiM introduces a group of technology-based risk and insurance management tools that can be used by licensed insurance agents to help your carriers with profitability and ultimately help your insureds lower their premium by applying premium credits to their personal, commercial, and or cyber liability insurance coverage. Today, I'm going to introduce you to James Anderson at Ting. Ting represents a movement from detect and repair to predict and prevent. James is going to show us how easy it is to implement an IoT tool that can help prevent fire, flood, and temperature-based hazards, thereby lowering loss ratios and delivering better pricing to your client. Welcome to the TRiM Ting webinar hosted by Stuckey & Company. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the questions or chat area of the GoToWebinar control panel. And we're going to just go ahead and dive in. In 2024, Stuckey & Company is celebrating 33 years as a national wholesale broker, MGA, offering our agents access to solid A-rated carriers like the Hartford, Travelers, Safeco, Chubb, Liberty, Ace, just to name a few. Here's a carrier partner poster that we can offer your agency. Basically, we have 9 specialty programs. They fall inside 4 specialty underwriting categories. Commercial lines, which is BOP, comp, auto, bonds, inland marine, ocean marine. We do personal lines, which is home, auto, boat, high value home, and all the toys. Professional liability, which is E&O, D&O, cyber, EPLI, and surplus lines. So if it falls outside of any of those categories, we automatically submit it to the surplus lines department. Like I said, the reason we're having this call is because of the rising premiums, the rising loss ratios, and the premiums are going up. Agents are losing their contracts, and insurance carriers are exiting the markets, and which brings us to TRiM. Again, TRiM is a technology-based risk and insurance management platform, and obviously to help manage and mitigate the risk. And next, I'd like to turn it over to James Anderson at Ting to tell us about Ting, their product, and how it can be used by licensed agents to help reduce claims. So let me make James the presenter.
Great.
Okay.
Hello. Okay, you see the screen? Great. Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time today to learn a little bit about Ting. I'm Jim Anderson. I'm our Vice President of Sales and Business Development for Whisker Labs. the company that produces Ting. And some of you may have already seen Ting or heard of Ting. I was on a train not too long ago, and of course talking about Ting, and somebody sitting next to me as they were getting off the train said, "Hey, we've got a Ting at our house and we love it." So the word's getting around. This is the device right here on this picture. You can see it's basically a super smart plug that fits into any 3-prong outlet. And I get into kind of the technology behind it, why we sought out to do this, and completely consistent with everything that Dwight has said, where insurers are struggling with loss ratios, looking to minimize large losses, lower risks, and really, by moving to a paradigm of predict and prevent, how can you sort of get on the other side of that risk equation and create a positive ROI by helping your customers predict and prevent losses, to be safer up front rather than just helping support them at the time of a claim. So, and that's what we were really seeking to do with the Ting program and the Ting technology. And so, what was the challenge? And I'll tell you a little bit of backstory here. The company was born out of tragedy in a way. The co-founder, CEO, my boss's sister-in-law had an electrically related fire in their home. It was a total loss. They lost a pet, lost almost all of their possessions. And so we sought to kind of figure out how could we predict and prevent fire and water losses, knowing that those are big categories of loss for most insurers. And 2, how can we do it in a way that really solved for a lot of the challenges that peril-based IoT programs have had in the past, and provide a really engaging, curated customer experience that was branded with our insurance partners and that delighted their customers every day, that customers really enjoyed. And then, finally, how can we do it in a way that also delivered valuable data insights to insurers and agents and other folks? Because we know that there's a lot of things that aren't really understood about electrically related fires and just fires in general. Anywhere from like 40 to 60% of fire claims are unclassified or uncategorized, or the source is unknown within the claims data of most insurers. And so we wanted to be able to kind of peer into that void and draw some more detailed conclusions about fire hazards and fire risks within homes. And so we created Ting. And again, it's this sensor. It's a little bit bigger than a nightlight. It is a kind of a super smart plug. It looks really simple. Inside of it is very sophisticated electronics, 2 signal processors that sample voltage at 30 kilohertz and 30 megahertz. At 30 megahertz, that's 30 million samples a second. At that frequency range, the wiring within a home basically acts like a communications network, like a big antenna. And with that, utilizing that principle, we're able, just with one sensor, to detect or see everything that's happening throughout the entire house. And then we engage with the customer, deliver that information from the device to the customer through this mobile app. And then on the back end, we have our service, our live systems, our AI machine learning based algorithms that are analyzing the data from all the Ting sensors and looking for fire hazards. And then we have our fire safety team and our customer service team, which are in contact with end customers if there is a fire hazard that's detected. I'll get into that a little bit more as we go. So what is it that Ting detects? About 30% of all the fire hazards we detect are what you would classically think of as electrical fire hazards. So these are, faults within the wiring and the infrastructure of the home, that whether it's a breaker or a switch or an outlet, or wiring, those types of things. Another 30% are problems or fire hazards that we detect in everything that's connected to that electrical infrastructure. So think of appliances, devices, Christmas lights, and I'll show you examples of all these things in a second. And then another 40% is actually outside the home. It's faulty utility connections to the home that create fire hazards within the home because it's delivering unsafe, spiky power into the home. And so here's, kind of real world examples of what this looks like. These are pictures from actual fire hazards that the Whisker Labs team mitigated. And so you can see wiring and outlets and switches and breakers. Down here, you see appliances and power strips and heating blankets, sump pumps, water heaters, extension cords, light fixtures, all different kinds of things here. And Christmas decorations, of course. These ones in this picture look like they're outside, but they're actually inside, sitting on cotton balls on top of a wooden mantle. And this is arcing inside this snowman. It certainly could have resulted in a fire. And then here, really interesting, again, I said 40% of everything we detect are fire hazards on the utility side of the meter. That's what we see there, what we call loose neutral connections in this secondary connection from the transformer to the house. And so what are we seeing with the Ting network? How are we operating? And we've grown the Ting network quite a bit. I actually need to update this slide. We now have over 850,000 customers, and that number is increasing by about 50,000 a month. And with that, we've, just gathering more and more experience. We have over 750,000 home years worth of data. We've detected and mitigated over 12,000 fire hazards. What we call those a save when we mitigate a fire hazard. And so with that, we have a lot of data on, those modes of failure within homes. And the insurance industry is really seeing the benefits of the Ting program. We have over commitments for over 2 million Tings over the next couple of years. And our network of insurance carrier partners continues to grow quite rapidly. We've added about 8 carriers so far this year and are signing up new carriers every month. I saw on that intro slide that Dwight had there, some of the carriers listed on that slide are already partners of ours. And then, kind of the easy part to describe is what I just described in terms of the product that the end user experiences, that your customer, your policyholder, our customer experiences. But what's also important is that wrapped around this, kind of over the top of it, is a program, an enterprise program that's delivered to the carrier to stand up the Ting capability for them. And so part of this is just kind of people, process, and technology to enable and ensure to launch a Ting program. So part of that is just operation support. So it's a partner manager, and then everything we do through the operation of the Ting network, fire safety team, the customer care team, and that includes staff that are interacting with the insurer to make sure that the program is getting stood up properly. And then we provide a ton of enrollment marketing support to help carriers implement this. So that includes help with their enrollment campaigns, the activation, communicating the Ting program to agents, et cetera. And then we provide analytics and a dashboard for insurance partners to be able to utilize so they can see the status of all the Tings in their program at any given time. And then we're continuing to do product development and update the algorithms on the Ting device So we actually continue to see improvements in the loss prevention efficacy of the ting program because we're just learning more and more. Like I said, we got 750,000 home years worth of data, and that the number of home years of data that we have experience with increases by a couple thousand years a day. And so what is it that's kind of different about the ting program? And why is it that it works? And here are really kind of those keys to success. And we're technology entrepreneurs, so this is kind of how we operate, right? We've seen a lot of the challenges with implementing peril-based IoT programs, whether those are theft prevention or leak detection, et cetera. And why aren't those being adopted more readily? And so we've tried to solve for all those issues. And the keys to success for ting are, one, just the homeowner interest. Fire is a very animating peril. Customers are afraid of fire, and they recognize that it's potentially a very catastrophic event if one were to happen for them. So they're highly motivated to engage with the ting program, and we see enrollment rates that are quite high. Two is simplicity. It's a super easy program to get up and running. For a customer, they receive that ting in the mail after they enroll. It's a 2-minute install to get it out of the box, plug it into the wall, download the mobile app, and then Bluetooth into the device to set up your Wi-Fi, and it's up and running. It literally takes 2 minutes. And then we engage with the customer on an ongoing basis, and there's no additional maintenance that's needed. So our online performance, after a year, more than 95% of our customers are just year after year keeping their tings online. And then engagement's really important. And this is really true for any IoT program. You need to have other benefits that, besides the loss prevention, that are keeping the customer engaged on an ongoing basis so that they keep the program up and running. And here again, we can look at power outages, internet outages, voltage sags and swells, and be notifying customers of all those challenges on an ongoing basis. In some cases, we can do that really, really effectively. And then obviously having that data that comes back to the insurer that they can use for risk management, product development, underwriting, et cetera. And then, ample data that can be used to analyze the ROI of the program to, get better insights from the network as a whole. And then another aspect of the service that we provide is that we actually work with the customers to mitigate the problem. So when we detect a fire hazard, we contact that customer via email, SMS, notification through the application, through the user app, and then finally a phone call. And that phone call comes from somebody on our fire safety team. So that's a personalized phone call, from somebody on our fire safety team who is addressing that customer with a specific troubleshooting plan based on the data that's streaming live from their house. So we'll know that there's a fire hazard in the house. We'll know what type of fire hazard it is. And usually we just want to do some diagnostics to verify exactly what it is and where exactly in the house it is. So for example, say it's a loose connection in a ceiling fan and it's in a house that has 5 ceiling fans. Then we're going to work with the customer to further isolate exactly what that issue is. And then after that, after we've verified that, then we kind of develop that mitigation plan. And it largely depends on the type of fire hazard it is. If it's in the utility connection to the home, we're going to advise the customer and give them a script on how to call their utility and get the utility to come and fix that issue. If it's in a device or an appliance, we're going to advise the customer on how to disconnect that. So for example, if it were a heating pad, we detect a lot of faulty heating pads. We'd have them disconnect it and dispose of it properly. Finally, if it's in the electrical infrastructure of the home, we're actually going to work with the customer to get connected with a trained, licensed electrician. And that can either be an electrician that they like to work with, or if they don't have one that they're working with on a day-to-day basis, then, or they prefer to work with, then we have a nationwide referral network of electricians that we can, connect them with. And then once that repair is complete, we'll provide up to $1,000 credit to the homeowner to offset the cost of the repair for them. So at the end of the day, it's a mitigated fire hazard, and that's the loss prevention benefit to our carrier partners, right? They know when they start providing ting devices to their customers at no cost, that they're recouping that investment through the mitigated losses that we're generating with the ting program. And from an ROI perspective, we understand that for an insurer, it has to be able to stand on that leg, right? The loss prevention benefits have to be greater than the cost of the program. And with ting, we're quite certain they are. So this just explains a little bit further the $1,000 credit I was talking about. And then another thing that's interesting about ting is we're able to predict and prevent some proportion of water-related losses as well. And we include this in the CBA analysis that we do. It's a relatively small number, but based on customer feedback and the testimonials I'll show you here, we do get a lot of positive input on the need for this type of information. So first off, the only other sensor that's in the ting device is a temperature sensor that that measures the temperature and provides an alert or notification when the temperature in the house drops below 42 degrees and there's a risk of there being frozen and burst pipes. We also see that often we'll pick up electrical issues with water heaters and sump pumps. And so we're able to help mitigate water-related losses from malfunctioning water heaters and sump pumps. Or for example, if the power goes out, we're providing power outage notifications to our customers, and that would help them, especially with any water damage associated with a malfunctioning sump pump. Lots of instances where the power outage, after the rainstorm is what kind of causes flooding in a basement because the sump pump isn't working. So that kind of explains that benefit of it as well. Here you can see different sump pumps. And what's really interesting is at ting, about 2% of our customers have a fire hazard that we detect. And of those, roughly 2% of customers, we estimate that 1 in 30 of those would have resulted in a fire. And the severity associated with electric-related fires is very high. They're almost always total losses. So the loss severity can be quite high. So this equates to about anywhere from about, a fire hazard rate of anywhere from about 1 in 1,500 to about 1 in 1,800 per year. If that makes sense for everybody. And then the final thing I'll mention before we kind of wrap up is that now we have, actually find it here. Now we have close to 800,000 or almost 900,000 sensors deployed nationally, and growing very, very rapidly. And as a consequence, we've created a new product called Power Aware, where we can also provide power outage notifications, not just to ting users, but to the community at large. And we do work with insurance company partners and others to make Power Aware available to any of their customers. And this is a mobile application that provides when notifications about when the power went out, when it was restored, the extent of it, etc. I'm gonna maybe take just 2 more minutes And talk a little bit about the kind of customer experience. One of the things we see is that customers really love Ting, and even though we only detect a fire hazard in 2% of homes, it's all those other customers where we're providing them ongoing notifications and alerts about power outages in their home and other issues, power quality issues related to their home and their community. And so we get tons of customer testimonials that are from people that have never had a fire hazard, but they're just happy with the peace of mind knowing that their home is being monitored on an ongoing basis. And so our net promoter score is 85. Another thing we see that's really great is our online app rating is 4.8. And interestingly enough, 15% of our customers engage with the mobile app every day, and 93% do so at least once a month. So really high engagement there. And this is another aspect that accrues back to the carrier partner. Usually, most carriers we talk to, they're looking for ways, and agents too, looking for ways to proactively engage with customers. And Ting is a great way to be able to do that. And their customer satisfaction scores are incredibly high. We have an NPS score of 94 for customers where we actually have a fire hazard that we've had to mitigate, and 99.9% of our customers say we met or exceeded their expectations. So I'll kind of stop there, and that's the overview of the Ting program. For agents that want to work with us, the best thing to do is tingfire.com. There's a way for customers to be able to purchase Ting on their own, direct to the consumer. We also work with MGAs and carriers to make it available to their customers. And if you as an agent don't have carriers that you represent that are offering Ting, then we're happy to work with all those carriers to get programs that are up and running. I saw there were some on the screen that was shown earlier that I know we work with, and some that we don't. And obviously, we want to be able to support all of them. So it's just a matter of getting those relationships in place. And agents just love Ting. As agents here, I was looking for a way to have that. What are some sales tools that you can use to gain the attention of customers? You're always looking for ways. You're community-based, usually, and looking for ways to connect with your community, do something that's good for the community. And Ting is certainly a way to help reduce community risk. It has a lot of other benefits. I don't know if anybody saw the coverage on Hurricane Beryl in Houston, but obviously, horrendous challenge there with the devastation and loss of life associated with the storm. And then the power was out, and people could not reliably know from the utility where the power was out and when the power was going to be restored. Ting had very detailed data that was really beneficial for that. And you can see that Ting found all the power outages in there, and the agents just really love Ting. So I'll stop there, and I think that's probably most of our time, and happy to answer any questions and go forward from there. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, James. I appreciate it. And I think it's unbelievable. I love it. I think it's, going from that detect and repair to predict and prevent just means so much, to us for sure in the industry, but also to the customers. And I also love the idea of paying the deductible. I'm sorry, paying, you don't pay the deductible, you actually pay for somebody to come out and repair if there is something detected, right?
That's right. That's part of the service. Yep.
Yeah. So just a couple questions. I know we are out of time, but first is Ting available to not only personal customers, but also commercial?
We are right now doing smaller scale programs with commercial customers, in particular commercial customers that are insuring small businesses or small habitational types of situations. And there are just a few kind of technical criteria that we need to meet to be able to service those customers. But yes, we're kind of step by step reaching into commercial markets as we go.
Right on. Okay, and well, you mentioned sign up. If the carrier is not currently implementing Ting, that you can sign up at tingfire.com.
Yeah, if you go to tingfire.com, customers can, direct to consumer can purchase their own Tings there. If it's an agent that would like their customers to get Tings, then that's probably the simplest way for them to be able to do it. Usually when we do a program, either with large carriers or agents, the minimum program size is about 5,000 Tings. So below that, just have them work directly, just work on the direct to consumer route. But there's all kinds of specialty situations there, and we're always happy to talk to agents and kind of figure out the best solution for them.
Right on. And is the communication branded to like kind of a co-branded?
Yeah. When we do programs with carriers, all the communication, that's the co-branding piece of it. The envelope that it is delivered to the doorstep is co-branded. And then all the communications in the app and also notifications like SMS, email, notifications, those are all co-branded as well.
Right on. All right, well, James, thank you again for presenting. Thanks everybody for attending. I'll get an email out as a follow-up. Can we share this presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Happy to.
Yep. So I'll send the recording, and I don't know if you have a list of current insurance carriers that are using it, but that might be of help to our agents as well.
Yep, happy to provide the list, at least of the ones that are public. Yeah, I can certainly provide that list, no problem.
Right on. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it again. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.